President William Samoei Ruto is in China seeking and begging for more loans to come and do, I don't know, whatever projects that he's convinced the China government that is going to conduct. But that aside, as he continues to heighten our debt ceiling back at home, we have so many youths who, as they were growing, were told, education is the key to success, and education is the only thing that bridges the gap between the rich, the poor, the middle class, because in education system, it brings together all these classes in one cluster. Unfortunately, after you are done with your studies, you are left with the responsibility of seeking for employment. And more than often, you listen to people telling graduates that you should think of self-employment. You should think of starting your own business. You should think of starting your own entity. Then here comes the question. It begs for so many responses. We know you need capital. Tell me, in this time and age whereby you'll study a certain course and you don't need any capital to start that business. You'll need capital, and therefore, for you to get this capital, either you get a donation from someone, you get funded from someone, you get a loan from somewhere, or you are first of all employed into someone's organization, whether it is in public service or in the private sector, for you to get that money to get into your own business that you call self-employment. Right now, as we speak, the taxes are so high, even for the business people to accommodate. Recently, the KRA also admitted that the collection of their taxes to what they expected this year has not been so good. Why? Somebody lied to the government that if you increase taxes, we'll be able to collect more. Unfortunately, they didn't know that if you increase taxes, you are making businesses unbearable. Just the other day, I'll give a tentative scenario. I run a photo shoot, a business, a photo studio somewhere, and we used to pay like annual fee of 4,800, and plus some transaction fee when you go to the bank 300. It comes to 5,100 annually. Now the least you could pay, at least according to these people who give you these licenses, is that is 6,300, an additional of 1,200 on top. Do you still think I'll be able to pay that, or I'll be closing my doors whenever I see those county councillors carries? In business, it's good to give somebody an amount that they could afford and pay comfortably, so that you attract more business people in the market. You understand? But when you give high taxes, when you toll high taxes, people will close down the businesses, companies will close down. Now, youths are educated and there are no jobs. This is a time bomb. Trust me. This is violence in creation. What am I talking about? Youth will reach a point whereby they will be waiting for a small trigger, like a political unrest, a demonstration, and they will seize that opportunity to loot from supermarkets, to loot from wholesalers, to loot from any small businesses around. Just a window of a 1 hour demonstration or picketing, a lot shall have happened. And it's not like anybody was born to be a thief, but life is pushing them towards crime. The government is pushing the youth towards crime. The government is trying to justify crime as a means of getting rich. The government is trying to justify crime, robbery, as a means of getting success in this life, current day and time. Because number one, they have been uh, they have been defeated in terms of fighting corruption. They have been defeated in terms of fighting nepotism. And corruption has been deep rooted in a government, including the president himself, the head of nation. Even before he was elected, there are serious cases that were against him. But still, Kenyans woke up very early in the morning and voted someone they knew so well had integrity issues, someone who had someone who had court cases before him, someone who will stop at nothing to make sure they get the top seat. Now you see the government came. If the police could be used to settle political scores, if our judiciary systems could be used to settle political scores instead of performing the activities that they're supposed to perform, then how do we expect a change for this nation? We have seen old guards being recycled back in office. What about the career youths who also studied, believing that they will hold such offices? You say that the youth are leaders of tomorrow. That tomorrow is never coming. We should revive and say they are the leaders of today. We have people, look everywhere, be it in the medical field, be it in the education sector, in the agricultural sector. Most of the people who are heading these institutions are people who ought to have retired long time ago, giving space for the youth who are graduating day in, day out in the hundreds of thousands. And again, it's not like the nation has no resources to help these youth create their own jobs. No, the corruption that has been deep rooted in our nation is the problem. Could we ask ourselves, was it different that Ibrahim Traore, the now president of Burkina Faso, is doing different from what other leaders used to do? That is making Burkina Faso start to shine to an extent. He's receiving threats from the Westerners. It means African countries, we have so much resources, even than we need. Kenya is a rich nation. Unfortunately, we have leaders who, once their bellies are filled, we have greedy leaders. Once they are promised high and mighty goodies, they forget about the other citizens. What if these natural resources are used to the benefit of the common mwananchi? It's not like I'm telling the government to keep paying mwananchi. No. Amenities like education, why can't you make education free? Seeking medical health, why can't you make it free? Without heightening the taxes, because these resources, as they are being exported to other countries, they should be generating more income. There is so much that a nation can do to enrich the livelihoods of their citizens. This imperialistic brain that our leaders have is the source of our problems in Africa. And you see, the Western leaders, they will always use a fellow African to undermine a fellow African. They will always use a fellow African to oppress a fellow African. The regime that we have in Kenya is a very oppressive regime. Ruto, before he was elected, did say they will never be taking loans from China, from whatever country, to develop the nation. He said that they will be using the resources in the country to develop the country. Unfortunately, when they grab power, all that goes into forgetfulness. It is being buried and nobody wants to talk about it. You talk about it, the next thing you hear, the sanctioned abductions, extrajudicial killings becomes the order of the day. Therefore, these unemployed youth, I still repeat and reiterate, is a tickling time bomb, waiting for an opportunity. Violence in creation, robbery will be the order of the day if the government doesn't take heed and try to sort out issues. Heightening of these taxes results to companies dismissing other people from jobs because they couldn't manage to pay them. So on and so forth. I've tried to reason these in the most logical and layman's language. I didn't want to use so heavy terms in terms of economics or that. I want you to digest these. Think about it and give me your thought in the comment section. If you're watching from a YouTube channel, kindly subscribe and press the notification button. So anytime that we are live or we upload content of this nature, you'll be the very first person to be notified. Ahmed Khalib is my name for the unscripted talks here in Dub Radio. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Kwa timba kali za Afrika, Dub Radio ndio mpango mzima.